Hey guys, welcome back to the Justice for All podcast with Gage and Randall. We left off. Well, first of all, we're tackling foreign affairs today, and we talked about South Korea, the relationship we have with them. Donald Trump meeting up with the regime dictator coming up here shortly, and as well as how that affects the rest of the world. Now we're tackling some of the Russia probe stuff, and some of the hot topic news of the week has been the Republicans have come out and they're saying there's been extensive research into this Donald Trump administration and Russia collusion, which they seem to be, nothing out of the ordinary that you'd expect a politician or some shady stuff happening, but no collusion and definitely nothing to affect the election results, as well as how it relates to other politicians, what they've done in the past. So, Gage, so we're talking. So yeah, the Republicans they seem to be saying no collusion. And that's kind of nice. A lot, I think a lot of people are starting to think that as well if they haven't already. But like I said with this, what do you think? What do you think Mueller? How's he? He hasn't even released anything, has he? Like as far or the Democrat? Have you heard anything about the Democrats' point of view on this? Or
Oh yeah, well, I mean they're upset about it. I've read a couple articles on that. They're upset about it basically with the House Intelligence Committee, which is a bipartisan
yeah, and
committee.
that's kind of like where I mean, like I said from the beginning, I also didn't think there was any collusion from the beginning.
Mhm.
However, it does kind of seem biased. It's kind of like the umpire. It's a Yankees Red Sox game, and the umpire is a Yankees fan. So
I think
you do
I
have
think the
that. I think they're
bigger
right, but I get it. I totally get it. I just want to see, like, I just want, I guess, that other point of view, like, well, why, what kind of collusion, why, and what do they think? That's all. I kind of just want to understand more.
yeah, I know they also released what was it, their response to the FISA memo. Remember the FISA memo that came
Oh
out
yeah,
regarding nearness? Yeah, they released their response to that, basically
it was like the same document,
saying,
pretty much.
yeah, it was like a similar document, only from the Democrats' point of view, saying that they believe that there was collusion between Trump and Russia, and stuff like that.
I also
But
want to point out too that we're not bashing the Democrats because also the Republican they also said that same committee said that they also couldn't find collusion with Hillary and the Russians. And I thought that was
yeah,
interesting too because I definitely thought that was going on. And I'm still not sure if that
yeah,
I'm still on the rocks about that. But so yeah, so Trump and
well,
Hillary were both cleared by the Republicans. So I'll give them that one, but I still understand their point of view.
yeah, and I think one of the problems is that we don't really know who's telling the truth anymore.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
things have been so politically skewed, and it, like the FBI, for instance, it used to be like a nonpartisan organization that would just, stick to the facts. And it's been proven that it was proven in this Russia probe actually that they used that FISA memo to start the investigation, which we know is paid for by the opposition um, and is fake.
right,
So I
right.
mean, and they knew that all along,
Well,
but
and
yet
they
they
were
used it
spying,
as an
and they're
excuse.
spying.
That, and even stuff that doesn't have to do with politics, like the Florida shooting that we talked about a couple episodes ago, where this guy, the guy was reported to the FBI multiple times and they did nothing.
Right.
It's like they're not acting. They're not, I don't
It's,
think a lot of times they're looking out for our best interests anymore. I think they're looking out for their own interests,
oh well, I mean,
unfortunately.
whoa! It sounds the government looking out for themselves. But you know,
Well,
it's just
but I mean,
interesting.
I'm saying it's getting worse and worse.
Yeah, it's not getting
You know,
better. But the thing is, that's
total,
what
you know,
happens.
total nonpartisan organizations that used to be, are starting to swing, either right or left.
But yeah, the
Either
thing
way.
is that's like what's happening. We're seeing like what's happening is like essentially the Constitution is getting flipped as far as like its power structure. You know, the executive party has never meant to have this amount of power. It's actually supposed to be very limited, originally planned. And the thing is, it just seems like with each administration, it gets stronger and stronger and stronger. The legislators, what they don't want to do, they're all, playing the blame game, and they don't want to pass legislation because they want to stay in, and they can stay in forever. So, that's a job for them. And it's just like nothing gets done. I think there's just so much we need to change. We will talk about government though another time. I could go on this forever. I'm sure you can too. But but there is a lot that needs to be changed. We will, we will. Just put that on the list. But so going back to this Russia thing, we'll see. So far, if I had to put percentage, I would say so far it looks like 65-70%. Trump is going to get off of it. I don't think there's going to be anything new that comes out that we already don't know. And I think it's just a matter of time. So I mean, we'll see. I'm still leaving that little bit of percent, because I'm not, Donald Trump hasn't always even been a politician, so it's kind of like, let's see what happens.
Yeah, you never know with him.
Yeah,
I think that, I think it's finally getting to the point where we might be able to put it behind us.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And the thing is, like I said, I really don't think he did any more collusion or whatever your definition of collusion is any more than anybody else does. Really.
Yeah.
And anyway, and every country meddles into other people's elections all the time. It's a common practice.
Oh, look at how we meddle in other countries
all the time. So it's just kind of like, really, honestly, my whole opinion is like deep down, I really don't think Putin and the Russians, they don't give a fuck who is running this place. They have their. I really don't. Either way, I think it's going to play out for them. But anyway. So aside from this, I honestly, from a diplomatic standpoint, I really think we should have. I really don't support this. We're on the borders of Russia coming up here, and we're threatening them. I think we're approaching that wrong, man. I think that's not going to play well for us. I know Russia does some shady stuff, man. They're not, the coolest cats to get involved with. I don't think they're our enemy. I really think Putin even wants good relations with us. I think that can be done. And if that happens, look out with the rest of the world, because you'd have like the two most powerhouse countries, or two of the top, definitely, especially militially, top two militially, running things. And I really don't think people want to see that. Between you and me, call me a conspiracy theorist, but I think all this Russia stuff too is kind of Russia. Like I said, they have their flaws in some ways, but I think overall, as a making us better, I think it's in our best interest to befriend them for now, because we have greater threats than Russia. And right now we're seeing these people using Russia as a tactic, and they're using Russia as a tactic, I think, for a reason, to portray them being completely awful, when I really don't think
and a lot of it boils down to old Cold War mentality, basically, that we're Russia's enemy. Back whenever we were doing bomb drills, they were doing bomb drills, tensions were high, and everything like that. But those days haven't existed since the fall of the Berlin Wall.
Right.
So,
right.
I mean, things have gotten better and better since that time, and Russia's now a democracy, or closer to. I
was gonna say, I think I saw your air quotes there around the word democracy.
Democracy. Closer to what they were than what they were in the USSR.
Mhm.
And they were, total communists. So at least they have elections
Yeah.
now.
Right. And those are some good
And
points.
it's like we're never going to be friends with Russia, but
No.
I'd rather have them
But
as allies.
we could have him as an acquaintance and
As allies instead of
yeah,
enemies.
and I think I really don't think, like I said, I think Russia's doing well by themselves. I think Putin is figuring things out, slowly but surely. But I think we have greater enemies. I mean, like I said, he's shady as fuck. I definitely wouldn't want to meet Vladimir Putin in a dark alleyway and trust him with my life. Definitely not. But while we're focusing on them heavily for like no reason, what's going on in the background? I think what's going on in the background will really surprise people. China, but
Yeah.
but
But,
so speaking of,
uh,
so before we wrap up the Russia part, is there anything else you'd like to add, Gage,
I
about
think we
Russian?
basically covered everything
Sure,
about
sure.
it.
Um, I think we should end now. Okay, yeah, I agree. And to recap, we both think that the Trump Russia stuff is going to come to a close with favoring Trump, and also that we think that we should kind of maybe befriend Russia a little bit without getting too cozy. But I don't think, and we also think that they're not our enemy right now. So cool. Nice. Powering through here. So I think I'd be more. I think myself, and I think the audience would enjoy more if we talked maybe China like toward the end here. I think that'd bring a lot of life. But
first I wanted to bring up one too that you were talking about the other day involving South Africa.
That's what I was about to say. Yes.
Because I feel like a lot of people don't know that because it's not
It's crazy.
broadcasted that much.
Sure. Yeah. So.
Crazy. So I'll let you explain.
Oh yeah. So South Africa, they are about to have a power change after their elections, and it's kind of funny to me. And actually, until I read this story, I kind of since then I've been kind of reading a little bit, into South African like the news and stuff there, and seeing and a lot of the things that's been happening, really with these leftists here, it kind of, but over the last few years there has kind of, and this is what's kind of we're seeing what's happening now. But yeah, in South Africa they're having a power change, and it's kind of like I don't know if well, it's kind of like apartheid, but like it's not. It's so what's happening here is their leader, he has gone in front of. What do they have, a parliament there? Or it's Congress or something. They he got up in front of the Congress, and he made a speech about how the black the people of color there are are trying to they're going to put these sanctions in where the government is legally allowed to take the white people's lands from them, and without questions asked, and it just that never ends well when you put like something like that in. And the thing is, a lot of the white people there are successful farmers, businessmen. They've actually came a long way since the terrible apartheid tragedies back in the day, and since Nelson Mandela. I really think what we're seeing now there is kind of a travesty. Really, I think it's terrible to see such a nation that has progressed so much, and now they're really taking a step back. And I'm not endorsing. I'm not. I never. I don't endorse any sorts of racism. And I just think this is awful. Whether you're white, black, yellow, it doesn't matter. I think this is just a terrible thing, and they're not saying it yet, but I mean, pretty much context clues. They're going to probably start killing the white people as well that are there. The guy He's off his rocker, man. He talked about some crazy people. This is how I don't know.
Yeah, he basically, from what I've read, and there are a few articles on it online that you can find on Google. He basically sounds like another Hitler,
Yeah.
honestly. Like to the point where has he been elected yet? Do you know? Or is he
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. Yes, he has.
He hasn't been elected.
He has
Yeah.
been. Mm-hmm.
So basically, yeah, he's
Cyril Ramaphosa. Cyril is that? I'm butchering his name probably. Cyril. Cyril Ramaphosa, I think, is the president there right now. So yeah.
Okay. But yeah, he's basically holding rallies saying all these things, and apartheid went on there for years. It was almost a century, I think. It didn't end until the 80s, I think. It was like 80 years or so.
What for? For what?
For the original apartheid, like where the whites were in power and basically did all they did to the blacks there.
Yeah. It looks like it was between
19. Saying is he's wanting to do like something like a reverse apartheid.
Yeah. Well, it's 1948 to 1994. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was longer than that, but still long.
Oh wow, yeah. But anyway, yeah, exactly. That's exactly what's happening. So this guy, like I said, he is just bad news. And yeah, man, I don't know. Something's got to get done. You kind of hope. It's hard to say this, but you kind of hope it was. Nelson Mandela would come around now, right? Or something. But yeah, this is really, I think, it's not a good thing for the South African people. I think it's really they're going to take a hit on all fronts of their, of their community, and as far as like their culture as South Africans. I think they're really going to take some steps back here, and it's unfortunate, Yes, I just don't know,
well,
man.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's like actively advocating for exterminating his own people.
Yeah, I know.
And people support that, and they elected him. It's like, I don't know what's scarier, that the leader is currently advocating for that, or that there's enough people that support
that. I think, well, like I think you made it a good point when you were saying how these it's kind of like a Hitler thing, man. Like what happens is here comes a guy who seems like a powerful man screaming about whatever, and I think people are just going to fall in line. And actually, yeah, those kind of things do happen. I mean those kind of things do happen, and yeah, it's not good, and nothing good can come from this, because when you start screaming revolution and you're a powerful man, you get a following, whether good or bad, and I just think this is not going to end well in any aspect. This guy, I don't know. Something's got to change though. It's like I said, it's tough. I feel for those people there, and my prayers go out to them, especially the white people there, and hopefully some good happens sooner rather than later.
Yeah, before it's too late.
Yeah, but it's very interesting, man. Like some, how these things happen, and how beliefs. Man, I just honestly thought, I never realized the racial tension still there. I know we do in this country, but like I said, I just kind of thought they took steps in the right direction. They I really thought they were turning a leaf, but really, like I said, and it's weird to me to see this because when you escape the racial tension and get past a certain barrier in a country's history about race, especially something as horrible as apartheid was, you'd hope to see continued progress and kind of in South Africans' minds. You definitely don't want to go back to that place, and I think it's certainly even more interesting that it is happening to the people that oppressed the black people in the beginning of all of this. I think it's very alternative events, especially knowing they knew, some of them knew what it was like when apartheid was going on. So
Yeah.
so for me, it's just hard. I just don't get this at all. I don't get how you can you can take steps back like this after all the progress you have made. But yeah, so we'll come back to this. We're about to take another break, guys. Thanks for hanging in there. This is Justice for All podcast, part 3 coming at you.